How's it going, guys? I'm back. I was actually about to go to bed and I ran across this article right now and I said I have to make this video. And once again, the line is getting blurred, and in my opinion it's gone after you guys hear this. This is scary stuff. This is the kind of stuff that you would see in the movie. The government is the mafia. Police officers are part of the government. They are part of the mafia. They take care of their own. It really goes from the FBI on down. FBI does crooked stuff. Then the state, comes down. They do crooked things. And of course, they watch out for each other. They take care of their own. And it's always been that way. But now, it's rampant, basically. Okay. New York cases show crooked cops' abuse of FBI database. Now, keep in mind, folks, I'm sure there's some kind of federal and state law that these officers are violating whenever they're doing what I'm going to read to you guys. But they are not charged with maximum. Like my last video, they are charged with the minimum. And this is some scary stuff. This is Associated Press. New York AP. It's billed by the FBI as the lifeline of law enforcement, a federal database used to catch criminals, recover stolen property, and even identify terrorism suspects. But authorities say Edwin Vargas logged onto the restricted system and ran names for reasons that had nothing to do with his duties as a New York Police Department detective. Instead, he was accused in May of looking up personal information on two fellow officers without their knowledge. The allegation against Vargas is one of a batch of corruption cases in recent years against NYPD officers accused of abusing the FBI-operated National Crime Information Center database to cyber snoop on co-workers, tip off drug dealers, stage robberies, and most notoriously, scheme to abduct and eat women. The NCIC database serves 90,000 agencies and gets 9 million entries a day by users seeking information on stolen guns and cars, fugitives, sex offenders, orders of protection, and other subjects, according to an FBI website. The NYPD system, called the Finest, as in New York's finest, also allows access to state criminal and Department of Motor Vehicles records. How often the database is used for unauthorized purposes is unclear. The NYPD insists that officers are under strict orders to use it only during car stops, ongoing investigations, or other police work. The department assigns them login names and passwords that allow supervisors to track their usage on desktop computers in stations, station houses, or on laptops in patrol cars. NYPD recruits are warned that if you misuse or you access information in an inappropriate manner, you are in serious trouble, such as being prosecuted, being fired, and also big fines. Ooh. A police academy instructor testified at the trial of Gilbert Valle, who was convicted in March in a bizarre plot to kidnap, cook, and cannibalize women. New York's finest. In addition to an FBI compliance unit conducts spot audits to examine users, policies, procedures, and security requirements. The FBI said in a statement, the FBI also requires each state to have its own audit programs and claims that malicious misuse is not commonly discovered. But both the instructor testifying at the Valle trial and an Internal Affairs Bureau investigator who took the witness stand in an earlier case have conceded that officers can easily circumvent safeguards. The investigator testified as a government witness at the 2010 trial of an NYPD officer accused of using the database to conduct surveillance of a perfume warehouse in New Jersey before an armed robbery there. He told jurors that officers often do searches while logged in under another officer's name, either out of neglect or, in this case, intent. Unfortunately, it's not unusual that this happens, the investigator says. The instructor, when asked about an officer's ability to effectively log in anonymously, responded, "I know it occurs. I wouldn't say it's common, but I know it does occur." At a trial where Valle was convicted in March, prosecutors alleged that the officer used the database, sometimes accessing it while riding in a patrol car with his supervising sergeant to help compile dossiers on women that listed their birth dates, addresses, heights, and weights. None of the women were harmed, of course, but prosecutors allege he went as far as to show up on one woman's block after striking an agreement to kidnap her for $5,000 for a New Jersey man who wanted to rape and kill her. But nobody was harmed, folks. It's okay. In another database abuse case last year, federal authorities charged NYPD Patrol Jose Tejada with being a member of a crew that posed as police officers while staging more than 100 robberies of drug traffickers that netted more than 250 kilograms of cocaine and $1 million in cash. Tejada ran the names of co-conspirators through the law enforcement databases to determine whether there were active warrants in the names of the co-conspirators. Prosecutors said in court papers, in connection with these searches, Tejada advised co-conspirators whether they could re-enter the United States without being arrested by law enforcement authorities. This is crazy, folks. This is a real racket right here. This is a real racket right here. The cases aren't confined to New York. Now keep that in mind. In the last 6 years, authorities have accused a Memphis police officer of using the NCIC database to leak information to a confidential informant about a watch dealer who the informant believed had stolen a Rolex. A reserve patrolman in Clarkston, Georgia, of running names and license plates for marijuana dealers, a Montgomery County officer of running checks on cars belonging to a woman who later reported that the vehicle had been vandalized, and a Hartford, Connecticut police sergeant of supplying database records to a woman who used them to harass her ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend. In the case of Vargas, the NYPD detective, prosecutors allege he hacked into the email accounts and passwords of 21 fellow officers and 9 others. Now remember this. Okay, this is cyber snooping and all these federal laws out there and state laws. And now listen to this. At least 2 times he used the NIRC database without authorization to look up information on 2 officers whose private email accounts he'd secretly obtained, authorities said. Now remember this, he did this 2 times. He accessed this even after they said supposedly you can be prosecuted and fired. So that should be 2 counts if I'm reading this correctly. Prosecutors didn't give a motive, but police officials suggested he was looking to see who his ex-girlfriend, also a police officer, was chatting with. His lawyer said he was shocked by the allegations. If convicted, Vargas would be fired from the force and face a year behind bars. Wah, wah, wah. Now do you see what I'm talking about, folks? This is nonsense. This is PR at its worst, I would have to say, because nobody's gonna fall for this crap. This is just obvious. I'm really pissed. I can't even think of what to say. This really pisses me off. You're telling me that you can get a felony like this old lady that defended herself and hit a cop with her, it looked like purse was so light it wouldn't even hurt a fly with because the cop was jerking her around. She's getting a felony, which is going to be more than a year, while this cop, different counts of breaking into people's emails and doing all this nonsense and accessing the NIRC database without authorization. Maximum is going to get a year behind bars. That's it? While this old lady's going to get over a year minimum? What do you guys think? Please let me know. Because if this does not wake you up, which I know it has, most of you guys are awake now, thanks to the videos that I make, and thanks to you guys also sending me videos that I can make for you, other people and you guys, then I don't know what will, but I know most of you guys are awake, but I want to know what you guys think. So is it okay for cops to get away with all this stuff? Is it okay for the FBI to let them get away with all this stuff? Is it okay for the courts not to do anything? Let me know.